See this episode's show notes for our unique promo code to get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn when you sign up for a new account. Get your show on Apple and Spotify, get helpful stats, and all the support you need to sound your very best.
Hello, this is Tom Brevoort. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 330, and I am back, baby. Yes, you're with your High Priest of KHONSHU, Ray. Oh, that's not it. Sorry, visual errors there. You are with your host, the High Priest of KHONSHU, Ray. G'day. I know it's been a while. I do apologize, but who would have thought, preparing for a second child was going to be so busy. So I really do apologize for that. I wanted to let everyone know, let you know that, ITK, we're still pretty keen. There's so much coming up ahead. So I've got some friends to come on during what will be a hiatus, I reckon, around July and potentially August, which is unfortunate because for me at least, there's going to be so much Moon Knight content then. But as I said, I've got some friends who are more than happy, and fair patroonies. Thank you so much for reaching out back to me. They're pretty keen to join in the conversations. I mean, we've got so much ahead. I'll get to that. Don't you worry. Before any of that, of course, we must pay our respects to not only KHONSHU, but to also all our sponsors. So a huge thank you to our patroonies, of course. Thank you, guys. Thanks for reaching out as well. As I mentioned, thanks for replying. I just thought I'd throw it out there to see if anyone would be keen. Because as mentioned, it's getting busier. You'll notice the activity has lessened a bit, but I just want to keep it going. So I know Rebecca as well. She's going to have a bumper awesome time over at San Diego. So she'll be away as well. But we're looking for people to jump on and discuss some milestone issues. So a big thank you to the likes of Odin Sword, Frank the Think Tank, Mario Digicom, Drew Tomes, Daniel Doing, as well. And then we have our sponsors, of course, CLZ Comics and Dreamland Comics, stalwarts to the show, always there, always sponsoring us. So go, please return the favor to them. They are brilliant. So if we are to look up into the night sky, you'll notice it's a waning gibbous. Now, a waning gibbous, for those of you that don't know, is like a full moon, but it's starting to go back the other way. So the waning gibbous is starting to lose its edge, starting to lose its face. Actually, I'm kind of thinking now, I'm just thinking out aloud, we have at ITK have been releasing some obscure episodes. I might drop an episode just about the moon, just for everyone to get to know the moon a bit more. Would you be interested in that? I know I would. So I might just do a whole episode on the moon. Let me know what your thoughts are there. If you're thinking, Ray, that's rubbish, or Ray, please just stick to Moon Knight. Let me know. Always happy to listen, take in feedback. It is a waning gibbous, so it is a moonwalk. So again, for those that haven't listened before, moonwalks are basically Moon Knight, but not in his run. So it's essentially Moon Knight in cameo appearances in other titles. And this time round, we'll be looking at Punisher, Volume 13, Issue 9. And I've got, for those that do have the video, a fancy little thing that now it's a bit too small for me to read. It's titled The King of Killers, Book 2, Chapter 3, If It Be the Will of the Beast. That is what we're covering. And rest assured, Moon Knight is in there. So I will call it out. Mind you, for those that have read it, you'd know I was kind of sweating a bit. It wasn't until the very end. No spoilers. Spoilers, no spoilers. That Moon Knight did appear. So I was kind of like, where is he? I did hear he was in this, and he certainly is. So we'll cover that. Don't worry. So let me start off with a bit of white noise. Just so you know as well, I will be throwing up some visuals for the incentives for patronies. You can gain access to this video version of the episode, and you can see the visual references the visuals that I am referring to. So I wanted to start off with a bit of a white noise. And in Moon Knight news, now if you've been a regular on our social media platforms, you would know that there is a slew of material out and about for Moon Knight coming up. So we are so blessed with it. KHONSHU be praised. So we've got plenty. I haven't got slides for everything because, oh my God, there are about a gazillion variants, but I will show a few of them. I will describe a few of them as well. So let's go. So what we have here, first up, let me see. So, of course, David Proposer has been tapped on the shoulder to do City of the Dead. It's a Moon Knight second title, second series. So aren't we lucky? And we know, of course, that it will feature the Scarlet Scarab. So yeah, very looking forward to that indeed. And if you just bear with me, I had it up here, but I will pull it up here. So there are a whole range of variants for this one. Actually, I've got here listed in League of Comic Geeks up to 12. Well, maybe a bit less than that because they actually have released. Let me just take that over here. Yeah. They've released a fair few. So what you can see now is the regular cover is by Rod Reyes, which is looking pretty cool. Everyone's probably seen that one. It's Moon Knight. He's kind of riding on an upside down crescent moon in front of a statue of KHONSHU, very kind of ancient Egyptian backdrop. Looks pretty damn cool. I'm going to get that. No question about it. But we do have variants. We've got, let me count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, there's 5 variants. So 5 variants plus the main issue. Let me just read this. Of course, we did cover this briefly, but I just want to cover it again, just to kind of get everything together. So this is the debut of the new Scarlet Scarab. When a young runaway is attacked by a gang of death cultists, he's left barely alive outside the Midnight Mission. But Mark Spector made a vow long ago to defend the travelers of the night, and as long as a spark of life remains, his mission isn't over yet. Follow Moon Knight on his most harrowing adventure yet as the Fist of KHONSHU journeys far beyond the land of the living and battles across the mind-bending underworld known as the City of the Dead. So very, very cool indeed. I cannot wait to get into this. Details for it, writer David Proposer, penciler Marcello Ferreira and inker Jay Leiston, with colorist the inimitable Rochelle Rosenberg. Aren't you glad that she's on board? And C.B. Cebulski, editor-in-chief. So like I said, this is the Rod Reyes one. That's the regular cover. Now we do have also, there is a variant cover by Davey Go, which showcases Scarlet Scarab herself, Layla. So that's pretty cool. I'm very excited to see Layla in the Marvel Comics universe. There's always been this kind of overlap. We've got Darcy, what's her name? Darcy in Scarlet Witch, Agent Coulson, so MCU characters have made their way over. And I'm not saying that, Scarlet Scarab is based on an original Marvel comic book character, but this is more of the MCU version. coming in. So interesting to see how she factors in with Moon Knight, considering the comic book history of Moon Knight. So I'm assuming very different from the MCU. Unless, of course, she was like, it was a dark, not a dark patch. It was an unknown period in the comic book era, and maybe he did marry her at some stage. Well, who knows? I'm only going to show a few of these. Okay, so I've got also. I had to shout this out, and this was on our social media platforms and Facebook. It's City of the Dead issue 2, actually, and this is the variant cover by our god Bill Sienkiewicz. So this is a 1-25. So we know issue 2 is coming out in October 2023. That's a cover date at least. And so it says, tearing through the city of the dead on his quest to rescue a young runaway, Moon Knight must grapple with his past when he turns to an unlikely source for aid. Pardon me for pronunciation, Layla El Fuli, aka the Scarlet Scarab. I know Rebecca will pull me up on that pronunciation. But when Mark Spector is faced with a murderer's row of dead supervillains whom he helped put in the ground, can even the fist of Khonshu defy the odds long enough to survive? Plus, who is the Jackal Knight? So, my gosh, we've got questions already, and this sounds awesome. It sounds like there might be a row of old or classic Moon Knight villains, maybe a few more from the extended, Marvel universe, and may not necessarily be, the likes of Black Spectre or Morpheus, who we know will be coming in the Jed MacKay run. But this is really cool. This wets my whistle. So beautiful cover by Bill Sienkiewicz. It's a typical Bill style, glowing sickle, glowing crescent moon, Moon Knight, parallel posture to Khonshu, who's in the background, and like very kind of ancient kind of artwork looking. So we've got variants for issue 2. There are about 5 of them as well. So I think there's the regular cover and 5 variants for both issue 1 and issue 2 that I can see anyway on League of Comic Geeks. Okay, we've bounced to this one. So just talking again, I thought I had these slides in order. Obviously not. Another variant cover from City of the Dead issue 1 is the cover by Scotty Young, which looks pretty, it's typical Scotty, looks great. I think I'll pick this one up as well. It looks like some mummies just wandering around at the bottom, and there's a looks like Moon Knight as a sickle moon basically at the top. So that looks pretty fun indeed. We've got a couple of other variants I want to shout out as well. This one I thought was brilliant. This was a variant by Hawley. So just has that kind of pulpy painted kind of look to it. Has a Scarlet Scarab, has Amut, which you can see the crocodile, and has Khonshu at the back, and also has a lion deity. I'm unfamiliar with a lion head. I know the Egyptian deities generally favoured kind of bird heads. I can't remember the lion one. So anyone shout out, please. Mario, I know you're on it. Yes, so that looks really cool. Check it out by Hawley. I'm assuming that's an incentive variant. It looks expensive just by looking at it. Then we've got another one. I have this unlisted as well, but this looks pretty cool. It could be Marcello Ferreira. It could be his work. I'm not 100%, but it looks great. And this one is... this is the main cover, of issue... So this is probably be Marcello Ferreira. This is the main cover of issue 2. So Moon Knight, Scarlet Scarab in the background with her blades, and they're about to take on looks like the Jackal's Anubis acolytes or something, with the kind of jackal heads. Very cool regular cover. I think I'll pick that one up as well. Why not? Bouncing back again because Ray's slides are just all over the place. There is issue 1 variant, A City of the Dead. This looks awesome. This is a 1-50 by Carnero. So if you can pick this up, I urge you to. I don't know why I've latched onto this in particular one, but it looks so cool. What it is we've got 3 adventurers in the foreground. We just see the backs of them. There's a sarcophagus, might be KHONSHU or someone, and there's like a huge kind of wall in the background with hieroglyphs, but it has an etched kind of figure of Moon Knight jumping out towards them. It's in gold and it looks really cool. So 1-50, yep, might be a bit hard to get. In Australia, that's what it might get up to, what, $30-$40, which in America is what you might, if you're lucky, you'd be getting it for about $20-$25. So a bit more expensive, but it looks really cool. Speaking of cool as well, there's another one. This is again from issue 1. It's a variant, foil variant by Laraz. Foil variant. So we're talking gimmicks, baby. I love it. The artwork itself looks great. It's Moon Knight predominantly in white, of course, with his kind of black mask. He's surrounded by mummy zombies, and they're kind of grabbing him from behind. They're looking at the viewer, all with their red eyes, looking quite sinister. Again, looks pretty good. And being a fall variant, look, it might be an incentive variant. I'm not too sure. I know, for instance, there was a Spawn variant I got, which was a glow in the dark, and that was readily available. So maybe this foil variant won't be an incentive, won't be a ratioed variant. You don't know. I don't know. But we'll have to come and we'll have to wait and see. And then I think I don't want to jump too far ahead. Yep, City of the Dead. Oh, yeah, this is a City of the Dead. Again, issue 1. There's a variant by Alex Maleev. And, of course, Alex Maleev with the Dream Team with Brian Michael Bendis doing all things Moon Knight back in 2000. And get it right, Ray, 2010, I'm going to say. 2010 and 11. Geez, it was over 10 years ago. But he's returned to do kind of like a blood red Moon Knight and use of that negative space again. Looks pretty cool. And again, if you like red, it's actually kind of red, white, black, white, and blood inspired, it seems, because it's very heavily red, but looks pretty cool. And similar to Maleev's treatment of Moon Knight's cape in their series, it's kind of really abstract and almost negative. Yes, so I'm going to go on to now we've got some more information for issue 25. And again, I think we've covered this. It's a huge, like 92-page thing. It's brilliant. So I'm going to read it again. It's a regular cover by Steve McNiven. Looks pretty cool. Very Daredevil-esque, I guess, for me. There's a lot of red, and Moon Knight's hiding behind some, it looks like tombstones of some crucifixes. But the past comes back to bedevil Moon Knight as he pursues his latest enemy, someone once familiar and new. From grim New York nights to the blazing sun of Alexandria days, Moon Knight hunts for answers among the graves of Hart Island while haunted by the last mission of the Karnak Cowboys, a mercenary crew counting among its members Mark Spector, Jean-Paul Duchamp, Robert Plesko, and Layla El Fowley, the Scarlet Scarab. So that's pretty cool. This is obviously penned by Jed McKay, and we have a classic Moon Knight story from the past by Doug Mensch and Bill Sienkiewicz. So as Rebecca alluded to when we discussed this earlier in an earlier episode, it's probably a reprint of perhaps Volume 1 or, dare I say, maybe as far back as the Hulk magazine stories, which will be quite a treat. Quite a treat to see early Bill Sienkiewicz in his very Neil Adams-esque style and the beautiful colors there. Very pulpy. I love it. So shown up on screen here is the regular cover, as I mentioned, Moon Knight being shot at, taking cover behind some tombstones. I included this one. Again, there's a gazillion variants, but I included this one because, you know, we all love Frank, don't we? Don't we? So, issue 25, a Frank Miller variant. Just interesting because he's such a big name, and him drawing Moon Knight, I found interesting. I don't know. Similar to how JR did a Moon Knight for variant cover for Moon Knight 1. But there's Frank Miller doing it with his massive hand. My God, Moon Knight's hand, his fingers are his fingers are bigger than his head. Anyway, love it. You got to love it. We've got a negative space variant. Now, this was discussed in our social media, on our Facebook. Now, I know some loonies were disappointed in it. They were wanting perhaps a Mr. Knight, and this idea of negative space is a pretty cool way of showcasing artwork. This one's of Werewolf by Night, and it's a predominantly green cover, which for followers of Werewolf by Night will know that. I'm assuming because Jack always wears green pants. So we have that with a very, very cool picture of Werewolf by Night. And this is by John Tyler Christopher. You may know him. He has done variant covers before. He's done those kind of action figure packets variants. So he's been around the traps with Marvel for sure. But take it as you will. No Moon Knight on the front cover. It is a negative space variant. I think it might be an incentive, but it looks pretty cool anyway. And I'm assuming it's Virgin, apart from the Marvel logo up in the top right, the cover is largely textless. So I just picked a few of these because I don't want to go through all of them, but another variant is a really cool one. This is by Maria Wolf. I picked this one. It's just very evocative with the artwork. It's got Moon Knight kind of hunched over what looks like Tutankhamen. Anyway, my pronunciation's terrible. Looney Olivia, if you are around, please correct me on my Egyptian. Yes, and anyway, Moon Knight is there. He's got this, I'm going to call them sickles. He's got the sickle moon, like the big crescent darts. He's holding them, so they're kind of like, claws. He's hunched there over the eyes of this gold sarcophagus, and Moon Knight is adorned with some gold as well. So a little bit of a callback to Fist of Khonshu, Volume 2, if you count that as a Volume 2. I like it. And a really swirly, whirly, psychedelic background with waves of purple and blues and oranges. It just looks really good. So that stuck out for me. Maria Wolf. We're not sure what I said before. I might have said Mary Wolf. Maria Wolf. That's a variant. 25. Now, moving on to some more. A little bit more news. We're going to issue 26. A lot of the things were revealed there as well. So here we have, while Moon Knight is dealing with the apocalyptic events of Moon Knight issue 25, what of Hunter's Moon? Khonshu's faithful fist leads new converts to war, but how exactly was his most recent resurrection flawed? And does this new weakness spell doom for Dr. Badder? Plus a bonus page written by Jonathan Hickman. Who are the gods? That's, I forget what it's called. Anagram? An acronym? Well, I don't know. Whatever. One of those things like SHIELD. G.O.D.S. Who are the gods? They love doing that. I know. I saw Jed MacKay. He's done Wong, Agent of Wand, WAND, and we've got Sword. We've got Shield. I want What do I want? I want Nunchucker. I dare any writer to do Nunchucker and figure out what that spells. Anyway, so this looks pretty cool. Regular cover, Steven Segovia. It looks very Hunter's Moon eccentric. We've got some moloids on the front cover, so that kind of gives away a little bit. What's got me interested is this whole thing about how his resurrection is flawed. Now, we know he died in the Jed MacKay run. He was brought back, but something's just not right. I just wonder what it is. I can't wait to see. So issue 26, like the others, has got various variants. I've just shown this one by Kim Jacinto. Very wows on the colors. They're very Tron. Is that it? Bright pink, glowing Moon Knight, blue, like fluoro blue with fluoro pink and purples. Looks great. So that's another, and there are a whole heap of variants. I've got the last one here for the variants of issue 26 is the Gods variant cover by Salvador La Roca. So this looks pretty cool. What has got me questioning myself or the issue or the cover is Moon Knight is perched on top of a rooftop and he's with someone else there. Could be Steve Rogers. I thought it was some sort of like agent. It could be one of the gods. I don't know. Oh, it's actually silly me. It's got it at the top there, Moon Knight and Dimitri. So I have no idea who Dimitri is. Anyway, so this is a gods variant cover. Salvador LaRocca. Check it out. All of these are readily available if you either check out League of Comic Geeks, or actually I should say CLZ Comics, collectors.com. Go check it out. You can go see all the variants. And yeah, so that will that'll keep you busy, because as I said, I think there are like 3,427 of them. Moving on, more news. We have another annual, yeah, baby, and there are variant covers to be announced as well. So this cover is by Lionel Yu. It looks very interesting. Written by Jed McKay, artist Grace Lee. So this person's name is CR EES. I do not lie. It looks pretty damn well done, Mr. Mrs. Lee. Well done. Moon Knight versus Taegukgi. Let me just read it out. I'll probably explain it a bit more. The forces of chaos compel Earth's heroes to go head-to-head with each other. When the champion of a god battles a godlike champion, who will win? The Fist of KHONSHU faces off against our Tiger Division's fearless leader. It's Moon Knight versus Taegukgi in a power-packed showdown. Oh, that's awesome. I've been meaning to maybe dabble into Tiger Division. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. This is a great cover by Lionel Francis Yu, by the way. Moon Knight's armor looks something new. It looks almost like it's a mod from Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Look more urban armor wear, and he's got the white mask. This looks good. I just can't wait. I can't wait to see what it has for us. So that's an annual. Let me see if I can find for you. Let me just tinker away here. Just don't mind me. Moon Knight. Let me see if I can find. Oh, now, of course, I did it before and it came up first thing, but now it doesn't want to come up. Moon Knight Annual. Here we go. Yes. And this is coming out August 30th. So again, I'll probably still be away, but hopefully your faithful Patroonies and Loonies who will be covering some of these episodes while I'm away can cover this. And my gosh, there are more variants. Jeez. That's just variant heavy, isn't it? Anyway, we have... Oh, no, that was last year's. Disregard what I just said. The other, that Werewolf by Night annual we had last time, that had 5 variants. So I'm assuming we're probably going to get 5 variants for this one. So watch this space. Now, finally, Loonies, before we get onto what we came here to do, which is the Moonwalk, I've got one final thing, and I can't forget it. There's a book, Multiverse Missions by Marvel, and I believe it might be similar to a Choose Your Own Adventure. Now, for those of you old farts like me, you would remember Choose Your Own Adventures. They're one of the best young adult books ever to come into existence. Basically, you read a story, and after every chapter, or every so often, every few chapters, you're at a crossroads. And depending on what you choose for the character, then you flip to the relevant chapter. And so you determine the outcome of the story. You determine where the story heads towards. Now, I could be totally wrong with this. This is called Moon Knight Age of Anubis, and it's by Jonathan Green, and I shall read the little excerpt. It says, Moon Knight stars in this brilliant new Marvel game book adventure of choice and chance, where only the player can stop an evil ritual which controls the powers of life and death. By the way, Loonies, I'm already in. Sign me up. Give me the book. Give me the ebook. I'm in. When Nakantu, the living mummy, escapes his sarcophagus and steals an artifact that turns swaths of mankind into zombies, Moon Knight steps in to save the day, but is hampered by eager an eager Egyptologist whose choices seem to influence his personalities and strengths. As Moon Knight and the Egyptologist taste Nicanto from the streets of New York to navigating traps, tricks, and riddles within an ancient temple in Egypt, the two uncover an evil ritual that will begin a battle between the gods over the... And unfortunately, it's covered. I can't believe it. Let me see. Hang on. You're getting the full-on raw version here. I should have just kept this up. As Moon Knight and the Egyptologist chase Nicanto from the streets of New York to navigating traps, tricks, and riddles within an ancient temple in Egypt, the two uncover an evil ritual that will begin a battle between gods over the power of life and death. Only the Egyptologist holds the key to unraveling the dark plot. Everybody's lives are in their hands. So that's pretty cool. It comes out ebook sale on September 5th, 2023. Comes out in the US in paperback September 5th, 2023. In the UK, though, November 23rd, 2023. So in Australia, it'll probably come out late as well, towards the end of the year. But I'm excited, guys. This is cool. I'm excited at this book, a game book by Jonathan Green. I didn't even know Marvel did these things. I'm going to have another look. I'm going to have another look at what else they have. But there you go. I think that about does us for the White Noise News. So, half an hour later, there you go. Hopefully that's kept you informed, loonies. As mentioned, go check it out on our social media platforms. There's plenty there. I'll try to put it in the show notes. I'll add all of these in. Yeah. So I think it's now time to go to our Moonwalk segment. And what I've got on screen basically is it. And of course, Ray has taken away the information that I need. So, as I mentioned, we're doing Punisher, Volume 13, Issue 9. This is part 3, is it chapter? King of Killers, Book 2, Chapter 3. If it be the will of the beast. Jeez, Jason Aaron, he's really jumped head first into titling this issue. It's a big one. To each in their own. Like Jed just does, Panic Room, or Jed just does The Party. They're great. This is a mouthful. I love it. Anyway, Jason Aaron is the writer. Penciler Jesus Saiz with Paul Azaceta. Inkers Jesus Saiz with Paul Azaceta. Colorist Matt Hollingsworth. Letterer VC's Cory Petit. And editor Tom Brevoort, who you heard at the top of the show. It's been a while since I've added him in. So, I don't have something written out here. Truth be told, I mean, it's not really Moon Knight centric, so I'm just going to give you the fair gist of it, and I'm going to try to do it in beatnik style. Why not? This will probably not work at all. Anyway, a 1, a 2, a 3. Maria, Frank's wife, decides to talk about the history of Frank Castle. The Hand are trying to get Frank to be the Beast or something or other, and Frank ends up fighting Ares or something or other, and he smashes him, and we see that potentially the Hand had something to do with Frank becoming the Punisher. They were there in the park. They may have had something to do with shooting his family. I don't know. We finally get Moon Knight at the end, along with his colleagues Doctor Strange, Captain America, Black Widow, Wolverine, and Daredevil. There you go. I just dabbed, or whatever the kids call it. I'm really turning into a dad jokes everywhere. So, guys, Punisher, there you go. I forgot to say, release date January 18th, 2023, and the cover date March 2023. So it's not that long ago, this issue. Overall impressions. Oh, look, I consider myself a Punisher fan. This is really like Punisher on roids. He's now the assassin, the chief assassin for the Hand. He's got these superpowers. He can fly. I mean, even Moon Knight says that. He takes on Ares, the god of war, and he beats him. For me, this is tantamount to Frankencastle. This is Frank. This is Frank, the Marvel character. Not just Frank the Killer. I've got some issues with. I might as well just jump into it. I have some issues with, and again, big Punisher fans, call me out if I'm wrong. Just with Jason Aaron focuses on this fact that the Punisher, he was like a bad seed even from the very beginning. Like he was beating up kids with hockey sticks when he was a teenager. When he was a little boy, he set someone alight. I don't know. I don't like this extent. To me, it's similar to, dare I say, it's similar to them revealing the origin of Wolverine, like James Howlett, and you kind of, you don't have to explain everything. Sometimes things are really cool when it's like, for instance, Wolverine is Logan and he just doesn't really know his past. Just leave it at that. That is so awesome. With Frank, the simple premise of his, I know it's very simple, of his family being shot and killed and that turning him to this revenge machine. That's cool. Sometimes, less is more, I think. But granted, I understand that writers, they're paid coin to come up with new ideas. So Jason Aaron has gone down this route of the Punisher truly being, a force of nature, like a force of war, a force of this whole thing about Maria talking about how he's wed to war and murder and how she feels like the mistress. Like before, she thought that potentially, um, thought that potentially his mistress might be war and he's married to Maria, but and actually, sorry, spoilers, Maria is is alive. So she's resurrected, it seems, from the Hand, and she and Frank embrace at the end. But she's the narrator throughout the whole thing. Yeah, and anyway, I don't know. I just keep it simple. And I also know the argument as well. If you keep on doing that, you're gonna find yourself in a rut because there's only so much you can do with that simple premise. Same with the Hulk. Same with the Hulk getting angry and turning into the Savage Beast. There's no way that we could have filled 50 odd years with just that, and that's why we have different iterations of the Hulk. This is just another one of Frank, so I get it. But I guess I'm saying I prefer, the other Frank style. I didn't even mind. Was it War of the Realms? Frank took on. I think he banded together with the Juggernaut and Black Knight from memory, and he went around killing demons. That was fun. I didn't mind that, but because it was still essentially just Frank being this human, um, with all his foibles and his cutthroat nature, just doing his thing. I like that sort of point of difference. But yeah, I don't necessarily like this one. But this is really cool in the sense that it's got a lot of cameos. Not only Moon Knight, I'll get to him. He comes at the end, but we get Daredevil and yeah, you had me at Schnicked, Wolverine there as well. So Wolvie, Daredevil, they don't team up enough. But yeah, so this issue I thought was really, really cool. There's a lot of action. Jesus Saiz and Azaceta are fantastic artists. I love their work. I love their work in Secret Empire. Nick Spencer, Captain America, that controversial kind of arc. Beautiful art. And I like their art here as well. It's just so vibrant. It's got Frank just like causing destruction everywhere he goes. He's fighting like the minions of Ares, and he finally fights Ares. Ares throws a tank on him. Frank shoots him and stabs him, and he comes back, but he finally manages to kill Ares at the end. But another point that I really enjoyed here, there are actually a few different artists noticeably. So there's this little flashback, I'm assuming, and we get a bit more of an insight, a bit more history into Frank. He worked at a meat packing plant, and this is kind of Jason Aaron saying that he's got this kind of detachment to blood and gore in him. He works there, never takes a day off, he never complains, he just gets over with his work. He's a really horny bastard. I mean, there you go, him and Maria. Surprised that made it into Marvel. But this is where they talk about how the Hand are involved in Frank. Like they wanted to bring out the Punisher, so they actually were in the trees and somehow were part of the mafia shooting the family. Yes. And the interesting thing here is that they talk about we must murder his entire family. Again, this is before his family are murdered. And there's a shot of Maria, and the High Priestess says no. So, I mean, comics are rewritten so many times. I mean, I'm pretty sure Maria was dead, but in this instance, I think they assume that I thought she was resurrected from them, to be honest, but just looking back at this, it kind of implies that they do spare her. Maybe they did catch her mortally wounded and brought her back and then resurrected her. I don't know. So then the art switches again when it goes to Black Widow looking cool with Captain America, and Cap's just basically saying, yeah, I hope Frank would be better than this, but I guess we have lost him. So they're just teaming up towards the end. They're coming together. So Daredevil, Wolverine, we've got Captain America and Black Widow. There's a reveal of Maria, and there's a huge fight with Ares at the end. Really cool. I do like the fight. I do like Ares, actually. Can I say I was hoping he would win? I don't know. I just think he's a really cool character. He tussled with Hercules, and those of you may know that I really do like Hercules. But Ares is a great character. So anyway, Frank kills him, and Ares is very proud of Frank because he managed to kill him, because he succumbed to this kind of essence of war. So Frank now has become the new god of war. He's overtaken Ares, and everyone gets burnt, it seems, all his enemies. Although some of them, they kneel before him, but he decides to burn them. Why not? And the big reveal, one of the underlings is Maria in hand robes. And the High Priestess doesn't look too happy about that. But Frank, obviously, it's a power of love. The power of love. Now we get loonies. Here we go. Money shots aplenty. The final, I hope I got that right. The final couple of pages got Moon Knight here, drawn beautifully by Saiz, I got to say. And he is conferring with someone, and we see the Eye of Agamotto. It's none other than Doctor Strange. So we get a bit of a, shall I say, cabal, some sort of allegiance at the Sanctum Sanctorum. This actually makes me want to check out the rest. I want to see how Moon Knight fares. I want to see Wolvie and Cap and Doctor Strange. Actually, I love all these characters, and Black Widow. I want to see them all tangle with Frank, but he's massively OP'd at the moment. So, I don't know how that goes. But this was out a while ago, so there are a couple of issues to catch up on. So, there you go. I thought it was a pretty quick review. Moon Knight was there. Yes, he was. Okay, look, I should give it a bit more than that, shouldn't I? Let me just tell you what he says. Okay, it's maybe it's a lot better. Here we go. So Moon Knight's in an armchair. On the street, they're saying ninja are hunting the worst of the worst, hunting on behalf of the Punisher. People say he took down the Apostles of War, killed Ares himself. And Doctor Strange says, Ares? Ares is a god. Moon Knight says, yeah, well, word is, and look, I know how this sounds, but people don't tend to lie to me. Word is the Punisher flies now. I mean, even Moon Knight can't believe this. It's just a little bit ridiculous, but we are in the Marvel Universe, so, we've got a doctor who can do magic, and we've got this guy dressed up, as a knight's moon. So, was that Night of the Moon? So anyway, Doctor Strange says, if even one of those things is true, then I assume we're in agreement here. I imagine we all knew this day would come sooner or later, the day we finally answer the question. And this was a little corny, I thought, at the end. How do you solve a problem like Frank Castle? A little play on the Sound of Music there. I get it. His wife is Maria. How do you solve a problem like Maria? Pretty funny. But yeah, Doctor Strange, you're not the best comedian. Let me just say that. Maybe, that was probably a stroke of genius from Jason Aaron, writing Doctor Strange as an unfunny git. And I say that with affection because I do like Doctor Strange. So there you go, loonies. I would look. This issue was fun. It was good. There's a lot of action. It's definitely part of a whole. I would give this a good. I enjoyed it. The art was really good. I would give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. It's in there in the enjoyable stakes. Look, it's not Tolstoy by any means. it's just Frank going through it. As I mentioned before, I'm a little dubious about this whole thing about portraying Frank as, the killer from in utero. Yeah, I kind of like the more simple explanation when he was classically introduced and his backstory. So yeah, 7 out of 10. I'd say check it out. I saw it on Marvel Unlimited. I'm sure you can still get the floppies, and you can buy the digital, of course. I think you buy that from Marvel Unlimited too. I think everything's migrated to Marvel Unlimited. There's no more Comixology Marvel app. So there you go. Well, loonies, I think that pretty much wraps it for me here. Thank you so much for your patience with my rambling. I'm hoping to get another episode in if I can squeeze in some time. I'd love to do one. I'm already looking at the phase of the moon, so just watch this space for next phase. It may be an over the moon, which is about people's favorite Moon Knight issues. So I might even give you mine. I don't know. But we'll see. Depends on the phase of the moon. Depends on when I can record. But hopefully I can record in about a week again. I'm trying to get some episodes out before I literally go off knee deep in nappies. That will be early July. So I've only got 3 weeks left. Hopefully I can pump out 3 episodes for you. And yeah, let me know if you've read Punisher 9. Let me know what you think. I think someone's already mentioned. I posted up something for upcoming, which is this episode, and someone said Marvel have gone too far or something. Like they've really kind of ruined Frank. Again, depends on how much fun you want to have with Frank. But yeah, people do love. I loved the Garth Ennis run and the subsequent ones after that. Which is really scary kind of Frank and really rooted in the street level stuff. But if you like the stuff like Frankencastle and Frank killing demons and now Frank being part of the Hand, then this is right up your alley. So yeah, go check it out. So like I said, next phase, actually, I'm going to give a shout out as well because the last episode that was done before this one was the one with the Critical Encounters boys. So I highly recommend you go check out their episodes. I think up to 170. They make mention of jumping on ITK and having a chat. Again, check out the game, guys. It's a lot of fun. I still play it religiously. I think I'm obsessed. I think there's a problem with me. So yeah, go check out Critical Encounters. Also, a big thank you once again to our patroonies, Odin, Frank, Daniel, Mario, Justin, Derek, Wayne, Josh, Anthony, Russell, Michael, Drew, Matthew, Jonathan, and Dan. Thank you so much, guys, for keep it going. As I sent you guys a message, June and July, I've frozen the patronage only because I just felt bad. I mean, the output I wasn't able to honor as I have in the past. So those 2 months I'll just freeze. So thank you. I mean, really, really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. But yeah, I think it's only fair. I'll freeze up for a couple of those months, and then hopefully when I'm back, hopefully maybe in August, I might have to freeze August. Then I will, we'll resume it once I can. The dust settles and I can get into some sort of rhythm again. So yeah, if you want to become a Patreon, there's also there's a bonus episode. It is on its way. I'm hoping to get this episode out quick sticks. So I know I'm a bit late. So May's bonus episode I'll release this week, and I think it will be on cricket. So I hope the Patroonies enjoy me talking about cricket with Dave from Signal of Doom. Plenty of heads being scratched at the moment. I know bonus episodes are fun. Get to talk about anything. So yeah, there are monthly bonus episodes. If you want to be part of that and be part of getting videos like this, I would suggest go to patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. Big thank you to our sponsors again, Odin Sword, Frank the Think Tank, Fringe Knight, Daniel Doing and Fringe Knight, his fantastic creation, doing action figures. He's got the packaging all sorted. And as well, Drew Toombs. His music is fantastic. Check out Bandcamp and SoundCloud. Links in the show notes. As mentioned, CLZ Comics, collectors.com. Go check that out. And Dreamland Comics, use the code MOON and get 20% off their store. Finally, we are part of the collective, so I do want to urge those of you to check out the collective. Fantastic shows, each and every one of them. So yeah, go check it out. The links in the show notes as well. The likes of the Gamma Charge, the Hulk podcast, Ghost Spider Groupies, Signal of Doom, Inner Demons. The list goes on. Capes and Lunatics, those crazy buggers over there, of course, one of the best. And finally, you can, I think it's time I can put this up then. You can find us, you can email us, all that sort of pizzazz. Feedback at itkmoonnight.com. We've got the website, same thing, itkmoonnight.com. And we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The important thing is the handle at itkmoonnight. Go check it out. Well, thank you, everybody, once again. I do apologize again for the drop in output, but I'm hoping to pop in as much as I can. And fear not, come July and August, when issues 25, 26, when City of the Dead comes out, we'll get some loonies together to have a roundtable discussion on them on the show. Should be fun. So be sure to keep on collecting your Moon Knight stuff. And as always, may KHONSHU watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.